Hey, well, there you are. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, if you're tuned in on Biz Talk Radio, we are here. You can hear the audio. I'm Brian Main. Of course, there's John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox. Welcome to the weekend. Hope you had a good week. We are back in the saddle. We've got a great guest lined up today. We are rested. We are ready to go. You're all looking good. And with that in mind, Tiger, how was your week? What's going on? We've got a radio show to do. We're going to talk about gardening.
You know, I had a great week because it's nice easing into the summer. You know, we've had this really nice weather in the sense of it hasn't gotten too hot. We've had some wonderful afternoons of sunshine and warm weather, but we wake up in the morning with a slight cloud cover, maybe even a little drizzle.
There was a drizzle this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
But aren't you waiting for the shoe to drop?
Well, we know it's going to happen, so
Right.
I'm fine with it holding out. But it is creating some havoc at the nursery because we are very slow for the spring.
So-
meaning normally we're much busier before now, but we haven't been busy.
People have to find something to do.
Yeah.
Why don't you clean that out? Why don't you get rid of all that junk in the shed?
Yeah.
All the things, the side jobs that nobody wants to do. It's like in a restaurant when the waitresses have to fill up the ketchup bottles and the mustard, you know?
Or like the salt,
Right.
marry the salt shakers or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the average person would come in this time of the year to the nursery to buy what? What are they looking for in June?
Well, that's the thing is you're done. I mean, what you were looking for was what you should have been planting 2, 3, 4 weeks ago.
Right.
Tomatoes, the veggies, the herbs, the flowers. Because in June, that stuff should all be in the ground. It should all be growing because now we're going to get the heat, which, you want that material established. You want it already growing. So that way the rest of the June month, it's warm, it's growing, it's flowering. And then, for a lot of these crop type plants, now they're actually fruiting in July and, through August.
So spontaneity is not
harvest.
always the best thing to live your life when it comes to gardening.
What?
Spontaneity. Deciding, I'm going to do this. You should have done it 2 or 3 months ago.
Well, that's the biggest thing with that is pumpkins. People come in October and they say, hey, I would like to plant a pumpkin. And I'm like, great. You're about 4.5 months late.
Don't you sympathize with them, though? Why would you make fun of them?
Well, he does.
I know,
You know what
I
he
know.
says? He goes, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
You want a pumpkin in October when it should have been planted back in, what, May?
It should, yeah, exactly.
May.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But, the encouraging part of what you're saying, Tiger, is because the weather is overcast, even if you are a procrastinator, there's still time now to go out and do things.
Right. Yeah. It's and when you do the things right now, or if you were early, it's easier on you.
Yes.
It's so hard
yeah.
to plant in the sun and the heat and actually get things to take root. But if you plant them now, when you got a little bit of cloud, a little bit of drizzle,
Right. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. Exactly.
And usually when you water, the ground or your pots will stay wet a little bit longer as well.
Exactly.
Lisa says that it was 98 yesterday, and it's going to be 108 next week.
And where's she at?
And where's Lisa?
I think she's in Reading, if I'm
Okay,
not
yeah.
mistaken.
They're getting
they're getting hit hard.
Yeah, we go inland. I mean, even John,
Even me.
Even John.
who's in Fallbrook, gets a coastal influence because he's not that far inland. You know what I mean?
I guess he'd be on the cusp, right?
I mean, he would be considered inland, I think, by all terms.
13 miles from the coast.
Right. But
Okay.
you guys, I mean, that
We're inland,
those
but
tomato fields?
We're not in a valley. Like Temecula's a valley, or
Yeah.
Escondido, the hidden valley.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of at a little higher elevation, so we always have the ocean influence, the breeze.
Yeah.
Even though it is warmer.
I told you a couple of weeks ago, Alexa gives you updates on various things. We get high surf advisories in Scripps Ranch.
Well, but see, and I would say you're not even inland.
No,
you're on the cusp too.
Basically, but we're far enough from the beach. I don't
But you
care
know
about
why
high
you
surf
get that?
advisory.
Because she's not really that smart. That's just artificial intelligence.
Do you know how busy she is? She sits in this big room. She has to play music for people. She has to answer questions. The phones are ringing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that job.
Kids are asking silly questions all the time.
Carla says she liked the quote of the week.
Oh, good.
The quote of the week was very
Should we
good.
read it?
We should. I think this would be a good time to read that for those that have heard it, want to hear it again, or those that have never heard it, and we're going to surprise them with it.
Okay, the quote was from Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
I like his haul.
I think that was Andrew Carnegie.
Oh, well, the Carnegies, you know how they are.
What was the book he wrote?
Oh, how to influence people?
How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Influence
right?
people. Yeah.
He said that one of the most tragic things I know about human nature is that all of us tend to put off living. We're all dreaming of some magical rose garden over the horizon instead of enjoying the roses that are blooming outside our windows today.
True.
That is true. And another quote that's sort of like that, life is what happens when you're busy doing something else.
That was his quote?
That was John Lennon.
That was John.
Oh, what did that
Life
have
is
to
what
do with
happens when
Dale
you're busy.
Carnegie?
Oh,
It's
nothing.
Just like it. Meaning,
Nothing.
meaning
When-
you're looking at something else when meanwhile everything else is passing you by.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
know, stop and smell the roses.
Do you have a second? So I went to a Dale Carnegie seminar, like a class.
Okay.
The best thing that I learned from one of the from that course was they put us back to back, and in front of one of us there was a picture made with shapes, triangles, squares, rectangles, different colors, different sizes.
Okay.
And then the other person had all the shapes in front of them. So the person that had the image in front was trying to describe to the other person how to put it together. But you had to say, the small triangle, the red triangle, the this, that, where, the right, the left, all of this stuff to kind of put this image together. And it was a great example of how what someone else sees and then what they say they see could be different to what someone else is hearing and then actually doing. And I was like, this is a great example of miscommunication. It was for managers. And so it was that idea that if you want your staff to do something, you have to really be clear on what you want, because otherwise they'll hear the same thing that you're saying, but they hear it completely
And you know
different.
what? Some people are visual, some people are audio in terms of how they interpret things. Here's another experiment that people have done many times. You get a circle of people, let's say 10 people in a circle, right? So you and John's next to you, and you tell John something. Okay, and that person in turn tells the next person. By the time it gets back to you, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Or it's not
Telephone.
exactly what you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they've done that also with eyewitness, like an eyewitness
Yes,
account.
a bank robber. Or
And
bank
they
robbery.
find out, they've got a video of what the person actually looked like or what actually happened, and they've got 10 eyewitnesses, and they're
all different.
They're all different.
Well, that'll be the fun thing, because today, Robin Jennings joining us from Heirloom Roses.
Right.
We're going to be talking about the Name the Rose competition for one of John's.
Contest, not really a competition.
Contest, yeah.
I mean, a
Yeah, but we're
contest and a competition are similar, I guess.
Yeah, we're competing
But
in a way.
But what the cool thing about it is, people are going to see this, and then they're going to come up with their own interpretation of what they see and put a name on it.
John, what's the famous quote? The Paul Simon that we love to go back to.
A man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest.
Exactly, even if it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
it'll be fun, because now we'll get everybody's little ideas on the same thing.
You know what is good is, especially for people who are going to be listening to this on the radio, which is next week, right?
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
live a week earlier on Facebook. You'll be able to get some information that people who are getting newsletters from Maryland won't get, because we'll describe the rose a little bit, and I don't.
Oh, that's
think,
true, huh?
Yeah, I don't think that description is going to be in their, at least in their literature. I haven't seen it, but we'll find out.
And just to let you know, just to add to the tease, I learned from Robin that this is an exclusive contest this was exclusively for their VIP members at Heirloom Roses, but we are going to share that link to our listeners and viewers to be able to participate, but this isn't open to everyone.
So it's a special, unique group of people.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not sure what it takes to become one of those special people at
Called the
Heirloom.
elite. The elite.
The elite, but if I'm not mistaken, Robin told me they sent out 250,000 emails.
Hey,
They've got a lot of followers.
just don't think it's everyone.
It's 250,000, John.
Exactly.
It is.
250,000. Yikes.
That's all right. It only takes one person to win. And I think they've got some second place prizes.
I think that's the motto of the California Lotto, too.
It takes one person, and our schools win too.
I haven't heard our schools win too anymore.
No, because they're not really winning.
Yeah.
Right. They're right.
With all the problems.
All right. No comment.
Well, what do you think? Should we take a break? You want to ease on into this break here? We got a little time.
Do we still have time?
Well, we have 30 seconds, maybe.
Well, I know that the first prize is going to be a $250 gift certificate
Two?
Oh, man. Heirloom
just
to
in
Roses.
Heirloom Roses.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of beneficial insects, roses, all kinds of stuff that they have there.
I'm a beneficial insect. You know what? That would be great. You're nothing but a beneficial insect. Just walk up randomly to somebody next time you see them.
Well, I don't even know why you would say it like that, because beneficial insects are good.
I know.
So you would want to say it in an uplifting way.
No, but if you say it negatively, like we talked about, how it's going to be interpreted. You're nothing but a beneficial
it would
insect.
be like going to Mother Teresa and saying, "You're nothing but a saint."
Exactly. And on that note, we're going to take a break. Back with our guest. This is Garden America. Okay, we are back. It is Garden America, of course. We're not going to change that anytime soon. Brian Main, John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox, all the business out of the way. Talked about the newsletter briefly, the quote of the week. And now, Tiger, Robin is ready to go.
Yeah, this morning we have Robin Jennings joining us from Heirloom Roses. Heirloom Roses produces and sells a wide variety of really unique and fun roses online, and also other items. We've had Heirloom on before. Robin, just within the month, we had another person from Heirloom that was talking beneficial insects, and you guys put together that really fun program where you can help people introduce beneficial insects into the garden. Is there anything Heirloom doesn't do?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, Randy was on your show just a little while ago. He's great. Yeah, the Beneficial Insects new program has been really wonderful for us. Personally, I love gardening. I don't love the bug aspect of it so much. So when it's time to ship the bugs, I try to stay away from the shipping department as much as possible. But it's been a really great success, and it's been wonderful just to be able to get these beneficials into home gardeners' hands who before couldn't order them because they would have to order massive amounts of them. So it's been a really fun program.
Yeah, what a neat thing that you guys are putting together. But today we're talking roses, Heirloom Roses,
Yeah.
a large producer and seller of really fun types, styles, varieties.
I would say one of the largest selections of roses in the entire country.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's about to get bigger, too. Thanks, John.
yeah. So
For a variety of reasons. Not only, John's great rose that he's given us to be able to propagate and sell, but we've actually just were at the Chelsea Flower Show, and we have a new agreement with Harkness Roses. So we're going to be bringing a lot of new Harkness roses here to the U.S. market in the next couple of years, which is really exciting. And we've connected with a new hybridizer, new to us hybridizer, Brad Jalbert in British Columbia, Canada, who grows some really amazing floribundas and some grandifloras with just his foliage is so incredible. I'm really excited for these new blooms that we'll be starting to introduce to the market in 2025.
now, quick question, kind of in subject but off topic. Have you guys seen any kind of shift in the past couple years of roses from, are people more into floribundas, hybrid teas, grandiflora? Have you seen any change, or has it been pretty steady, for the past few years?
Yeah, I think since COVID and the lockdown, we've seen a huge increase overall, as I'm sure you've noticed in gardening in general. But cut flower roses, so anything with those long stems, be it a floribunda or a hybrid tea or whatever that someone can get some gorgeous long stem blooms off of, those seem to be flying off the shelves much faster than some of the old garden varieties or some of the hard to find ones that we do carry. It just seems like your Earth Angel, Eden, New Dawn, some of those climbers that have really good cut flowers, those seem to be going really quickly lately.
Okay, so people are more focused on growing a rose they can bring inside or enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how trends shift with time. All it takes is for one thing to kind of change, and now all of a sudden they're more into a shrub rose, or like you're saying, a cut rose or a climber or something like that. And so let's talk about the introduction that John has put together for you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about, number one, what is the contest? What is the contest you guys are putting together?
Sure, yeah. We were really excited because John, so grateful, he offered to let us have a contest to name the rose, which, to name a rose is a pretty rare thing for a nursery to get in general. I think a lot of people have reached out to us going, could you name a rose for my aunt? Could you name a rose for whomever? And it's like, we don't often get roses since we're not actually actively hybridizing right now. So we are going to open this up to your listeners, of course, and to our VIP, as I heard you talking about, our customers, to suggest rose names. From June 10th to June 17th is when they're going to be able to submit those names to us. We'll narrow it down to the top 10 choices and then open it up to the public and to our email list, which is now upwards of 300,000, I believe. And everyone will get to vote on their favorite name, and whosever name is chosen as the winner, as John said, is going to win not only the rose, but also a $250 gift card to Heirloom Roses. And 5 people who vote for the winning rose name will be drawn at random, and they'll also win the rose that will be shipped out in spring of 25.
Now, how fun is that you might have the opportunity to say you named that rose. You were the one that created the name for that specific rose.
Now, can you read Brian's mind right now? He's wondering, am I void where prohibited?
He's wondering how many times he could submit a name.
I think it's 5 times, isn't it?
It is 5 times. And we do have a couple caveats: no proper names, no vulgarity, no cursing, please.
No, I'm out.
But I mean, how cool would that be to be able to be in your yard and somebody's like, oh, what color's the rose again, John?
It's a very, very light pink, and then in the heat it turns white.
Okay, so they're looking at it, and let's say it's pink, and they say, oh, what's the name on that pink rose? And it's pink whatever, and like I was the one that named that rose, and now everybody else has it, and because I was able to create that name.
Well, we offered our listeners that we were going to give them some inside tips, because if you look at the picture unless it changes, but the last picture I saw on the Heirloom website showed a close-up of the rose, but what it didn't show was that there's masses of blooms. So the whole plant is covered. You can barely even see the leaves when it's in full bloom. So you've got these terminal clusters of dozens of flowers that just cover the plant. So that might give you some idea, too, if you're looking for a name.
Can tell us a little bit about how it grows, John?
Well, it's a polyantha. A lot of the roses that I breed are polyanthas, and I think we've told the story before about the reason I got into breeding polyanthas was we went to Jackson & Perkins, and I saw that they had 300,000 seedlings to choose from. And I'm thinking, okay, I've got 15 seedlings. How can I compete to introduce a hybrid tea with Jackson & Perkins? And then I realized there's no polyantha roses here.
Yeah.
So I thought, I can compete with nothing. So I started breeding polyanthas, and I came up with a few, and one is sold at Heirloom Roses, and I know a lot of our listeners already have it, but Kendall Marie is just... I was shocked at my Kendall Marie rose this spring because it's the most flowers I've ever seen on a plant in my whole life. Before we go on, because we got all kinds of things that we can
We got about a minute to the break.
talk to Robin about, and also if any of our listeners have questions on dahlias,
Oh, yeah,
Robin is
right?
a dahlia breeder, yeah. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is I heard a rumor, and I because I'm old, I can't remember the details, but I think that Robin lived in Europe for a while and actually taught school over there or went to school over there.
I did. I lived in Scotland for a bit and did some student teaching over there, just outside Edinburgh.
Oh, and so,
Let's take a break before we.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hold that thought, Robin. Everyone hold that thought as we take a break here for Biz Talk Radio. And again, as Tiger mentioned, John mentioned, any questions for Robin, let us know what we have her on the air this morning. Garden America, Brian Main, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox. A break for Biz Talk Radio back after these messages. Okay, we have returned from the break, thanking those that are tuned in on Biz Talk Radio each and every week, and of course our fantastic Facebook Live crowd, all the people tuned in here to your garden buddies on Garden America. We are talking roses today, a lot of interest, and perhaps you'll learn some things you didn't know prior to the show. As we continue, Tiger, I want to get back to our conversation with Robin.
Yeah, so we're talking with Robin Jennings from Heirloom Roses, and for our listeners now, I did just post the link to the Name the Rose contest, so they can see the rose, they can see the information on the Name the Rose contest, and it takes them to the Heirloom Roses website. Now, before the break, Robin, John had mentioned your involvement with dahlias, and Heirloom does more than just roses. What are some of the other plants that Heirloom sells online?
Absolutely. We just started this year. We launched a whole collection of perennials. We've done rhodies in the past and a couple things like that. But now we've got lilacs and yarrow and thyme and monarda and salvia, echinacea, speedwell, tons of stuff. So we've got a whole collection of perennials right now. And in the fall, we just finished our bulb collection that we'll be posting very soon. So customers can order their fall bulbs from us as well.
And how do people get these items? Are they 4-inch plants? Are they plugs? Do you guys ship are you planning to ship these year round? Are these just seasonal? On the perennials?
The perennials are seasonal, so they're shipping right now. We'll be shipping probably through July for these, and majority of them are in gallon pots. We like to do everything in industry standard gallon size. There's a few 4-inch pots, but those usually come in packs of, like our sedum come in a pack of 4.
Okay.
So everything ships pretty much in the same boxes as the roses do, so you can order your roses and your perennials together.
Okay, perfect. And so you say it's seasonal right now, and then you guys will shift. Did you say you guys kind of have a bulb collection coming up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. We did last year as well, but this year we've expanded it a little bit more, so we'll have tulips, daffodils, I got to just go crazy picking all these beautiful flowers, so I'm looking forward to shipping them out to customers and taking some home too.
Do you guys have any dahlias?
We don't do dahlias
What?
yet. I know, and that's my sweet spot. So hopefully in the future we might be doing some dahlias, but not quite yet.
I love dahlias too, Robin. So I planted a number of dahlias here in San Diego, and it's tough here for us with the dahlias, but I love to have them in the garden. And then they every once in a while surprise me because they'll just try to come up at a random time of year. And do you remember, John, was it last week or something? And somebody asked us a question and they said their dahlia was coming up or growing or something, and they were asking, is it the right time of year? And we were like, no.
No.
Do you remember who that was? I can't remember.
I remember the conversation.
You remember the conversation?
Like that doesn't make...
That was about a month ago, wasn't it?
Was it a month?
Yeah.
Something.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
now's the time they should be up.
But yeah, it was early or something, And I just love being able to put them in the garden and then just seeing how they do. But talk about a fun, pretty plant. And talk about cut flowers. If people are interested in cut flowers, having dahlias is just wonderful.
Well, Robin is a breeder of dahlias,
right?
And she's got a kind of the one you sent me the picture of. It had a little bit of coffee color to it, didn't it?
Yeah, it's called Prairie Home Judith Ann, which is my mother's name. It's a tricolored dahlia, which isn't super common, so it's kind of a mocha color with a little bit of pink and yellow edging. It's real pretty. So I've got a ton of them just planted out a few weeks ago here. I usually plant on Mother's Day. That's my gift from my children to me. Everyone helps me plant.
Oh, really? You're like, hey, if you guys want to give me.
Really were my gateway into gardening. I started with just one or two tubers one year to see what happened, and I became obsessed. And I think this year I've put upwards of 300 in my yard. So my husband is happy that the lawn keeps disappearing and he has less to mow.
That's funny. They have an echinacea on Heirloom Roses. I think it's called Green Twister. Isn't
it beautiful?
Such a fun flower as far as different. I mean, when you think of echinacea, you think of that classic kind of
cone
pinky
flower, right?
Yeah, pinky, purplish. Very pretty flower. But the Green Twister has 2 shades of color on the actual petals. Looks like a lot of fun. Something, so a lot of unique perennials. These aren't just, when you mentioned the list, Robin, there are a lot of common things that people would know. You said yarrow, but it's unique yarrows, different ones. And do you guys sell them, like you said, in gallons, but they can do like packs as well, or is it just kind of individuals?
Some of the smaller plants we sell in packs, but most of the plants are just individual ones. Yeah, okay. This was a joy. I actually got to go through and pick the majority of these plants. So tried to come up with a really good variety of like the common, the beautiful colors that everybody would just blend with roses, but also some real pop and wow statement pieces too.
Awesome. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Did you have a question, John?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to mention Lila in Poway wants to know if she'll get to see the rose. I was thinking for
like actually in life. Is that because I posted the link to take her to the picture.
Right. But what I'll do is for our listeners is I'll bring in a bouquet next week.
Oh, there you go.
So
wonderful.
Next week is when they're going to start.
Launches.
Yeah, the contest's going to start. So you'll get to see what it looks like in person.
Yeah,
and actually, not in person.
Should we post it on our website as well? Picture?
No, we've got a link to.
Okay.
Maybe
you don't have any in cans still. They're all yours are in the ground.
I only have one plant.
What?
It's in the ground, but hopefully there'll be more than one plant in Heirloom, and you'll be able to.
I already have in my observation greenhouse at the nursery. We already have about 6 or 7 that I just have there, so I can look at them and monitor them, and it roots so beautifully. And I was just last week trying to count the number of blooms per stem, and I think I was averaging 25.
Oh, wow.
So it's really full. And I love that when she fades to that white, like you were talking about, the streaks of pink almost leave like starburst patterns on the flowers. It's just beautiful. So I'm really excited to share this with everybody.
Yeah, that's fun. You got a good one there, John.
Well, it surprised me. Robin was at the San Diego Rose Show. Was it 3 years ago now, Robin? I'm trying to remember, but it won Best Seedling there, and I really didn't think much of it because at the time, being a seedling, it wasn't a very big plant, so I didn't know what it would do when I put it in the ground, and I was really surprised at the performance in the ground.
Hey, Robin, I got a question regarding their Heirloom Rose selection. How often or how many roses do you guys kind of introduce in your collection every year?
Yeah, great question. So we have about 900 varieties on our site right now that we are actively growing and propagating from. Obviously, this year we've done tons of sales. We've partnered with both Costco and Magnolia this year, so we have been selling a little faster than we anticipated. But next year, we're kind of starting something new where we do our introductions. We're being really intentional about the quality of the roses, making sure that these are like super disease-free. Like that's Randy's domain. He is so obsessive about genetically testing all the plants. But we're making sure that we're introducing not only new roses, to the public that have never been seen before, but also new to us roses. And I've made a commitment to start bringing back some of the older and hard to find roses that maybe we have in the stock fields but haven't been available for a decade or two. So we've got a really good mix of upwards of 20 varieties next year coming back, either new to us, or hard to find roses we're bringing back.
Oh, that's fun. And I mean, it's so neat to go with the hard to find roses as well, because they have a story behind them usually.
Yeah.
And if you're going to bring them back, I mean, John, being the rose collector tells us the story of certain roses, or how it came into production, and then where it went, and then why it fell out of production, or why it's fallen away and there's not many left. What a great way to kind of incorporate that. Just like I'm saying, hey, you can say this rose in your garden is one that you named. Hey, how fun is it to say, hey, this rose was created during World War II, and there was only one left, and now I have it in my yard, or whatever the story of it is. It's fun to kind of have that go along with the plants. I mean, the fun story. I don't know if you guys sell or I guess I don't know if you would, Margarita Bopp Penstemon, and I've talked about this a number of times. Just the way it was named and how it was introduced. It's always kind of neat to have a story behind each plant. Hey, Robin, we are going to have to take a break. When we get back from the break, we're going to continue chatting with Robin Jennings with Heirloom Roses.
Yeah, hang in there with us. Again, great show this morning. Very interesting. Those on Facebook Live. Questions, comments. Somebody said, I've just submitted my name for the rose.
Oh.
So people are in it already, getting involved. We're going to take a break. This is Garden America, back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. We are back from that break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, this is the final segment of hour number one. As we mention every week, you've got news coming up top of the hour. We come back for hour two at 6 minutes after. But in the meantime, it is Facebook Live. It is Biz Talk Radio, John, as Tiger is busy doing behind-the-scenes work in front of the camera.
Well, I wanted to mention one of the problems has always been ordering plants online or mail order is shipping. And you never know how they're going to arrive. Mm-hmm. And I have to mention that the way that Heirloom Roses ships their plants, it's virtually foolproof. You get the best plants in the best condition of anyone I've ever seen. They spend a lot of time on their boxing and testing it, obviously. And when we have our auction, they actually donate boxes to us so that we can ship our plants out.
Yeah, they've got it down.
Yeah, and
good method.
And I've never had anyone complain about the way that their roses arrive. So good job on that. I'm sure that somebody spent a lot of time researching that, Robin.
Oh, they do. We're actually coming out with a brand new box design in just a few months here, and it's really gorgeous. I'm really excited to share it with everyone. But I have a funny story about our shipping. A few months back, I walked over to shipping, and I saw some of the shipping crew throwing boxes in the air, like as hard as they could, chucking them. And I said, what are you guys doing? And they said, oh, there's roses in there. We're just pretending we're FedEx and UPS. And so they were throwing them to see how the roses thrived and then unboxing to see how they arrived. So luckily, everything is coming great. No broken canes, nothing. So we must be doing something right.
It's like crash test dummies.
Right. By the way, Carla in Huntington Beach says, I love Heirloom Roses. Their email makes me happy every day.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you.
Let's see, what else?
All right, I think I'm all set on my end, guys.
You're good.
You.
Okay, thank you,
all
Tiger.
Right. So, Robin, so we talked about the rose naming contest. To going into the summer and the fall, we mentioned, the bulbs will be coming up here pretty soon. Perennials will start to kind of, fade away. But people can order a number of other things from Heirloom throughout the year. Tools, We talked about the beneficial insects,
Fertilizer.
gift certificate, fertilizers.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of stuff on the Heirloom website that, even if you're stuck somewhere in the middle of summer and it's not gardening for you, or middle of winter, and then sorry, I was distracted, but our listener just mentioned getting your guys' email. Lots of great information regarding all this too. You guys do a great job of actually educating people. Who gets
Thank you.
behind all
Yeah.
that
and if you
stuff.
go to our YouTube channel as well, we've got a lot of great videos as far as like selection. If you're not sure which rose to pick, we've got a lot of great videos on if you're looking for a fragrant rose that grows in zone 5. You can watch that video and find the one you're looking for. So a lot of great resources in that way as well. I also highly recommend in the fall when people are starting to put the gardens to bed, that's the time to get your stakes and tags if you forgot to get them. So I get my stakes engraved up and then they get shipped to my house and I don't forget what's where in the garden.
Do you guys still do that where you give the option to the person when they buy a rose to get an engraved tag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get them when you purchase or you can buy them post-purchase too.
Yeah, that was always a great thing that, was an add-on to whenever you bought a rose, is to be able to get that engraved tag. We were just talking about that,
Last couple of weeks.
about how they, do
They
away
used
with
to
the
come with the metal
the
tags,
metal tag, and now, you can't, and sometimes identifying the rose later on is difficult. So why not get the little engraved tag to go along with it?
For sure.
Yeah. Hey, so I think we covered everything, Robin. Lots of great information. We shared a link to the contest. We will make sure to kind of keep our listeners privy to what's going on with that. When will we hear the results?
Yeah, so the official name submission can be from June 10th to June 17th, and then we're going to allow the local subscribers and customers to vote on a name, and July 1st we'll announce the winning name.
Oh,
So you can
perfect.
follow along with our social media and our emails to get that. And I'd also love to share a discount code with your followers. If they want to use code Garden America, they can take 25% off all roses and perennials now through June 30th.
And that's just Garden America, one word?
Garden America, no spaces. Yep.
Got it.
So this is going to be just like a nominating convention, and then you get to vote.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true.
I think John might try to skew it. He might vote a lot, right?
Well, you said I could only vote 5 times.
You can submit 5 names.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can vote as much as you want, I guess.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe we need to think about that. Yeah, this is like American Idol. You can vote 10 times on each of these media. So
Exactly.
you can put in 150 votes.
Oh, I love it. Well, we can't wait to share the results. You said July 1st was
July 1st.
What is that? Oh, that's a Monday. All right. So we will have our show on July 6th. We'll
Yes.
be able to kind of share the results
Sure.
on then.
Wonderful.
Rob, yeah, thank you very much for joining us this morning, Robin. Lots of great information. And we look forward to hearing those results. We'll talk to you again soon.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
You
Bye-bye.
bet. Thanks, Robin. All right. I think we tickled the fancy of a few people.
Yeah. Lots of fun stuff. I mean,
Did she say 25% off the entire website?
yeah, I think it was just a coupon. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a 25% off coupon.
25%, that you feel that savings.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to give 10%. Okay, but 25%, you'll see the difference and you'll notice the savings.
That
How do we
even
do we
takes-
do it, John?
takes-
Volume.
Takes care of inflation.
Right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Takes care of taxes.
I can take my headphones off, right?
I think
You
so.
can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's your show.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
You know, a lot of rose companies have had problems in, say, the last 20 years.
Yeah.
A lot of them have gone out of business.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Heirloom came from almost going out of business when the old owner died, to Ben Hanna and his wife taking over the company, and they've made it, I think, probably the #1 mail order rose company in the United States.
Yeah, hopefully they've learned from the other past mistakes of other companies, because, I mean, I think it could be so profitable, such good business sense what they do, because it is hard for a garden center today to store, to grow, to have any selection of plants. any selection. I mean,
Well, unlike a lot of other products.
And that's the hard part, to offer 900 varieties of roses.
that's what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I mean, by no means was Mission Hills Nursery a rose nursery. We would bring in hundreds of roses.
Mm-hmm.
We would bring in, I don't know, maybe 50 or so varieties. Then there would be places like Niffings and Hunter nurseries who would bring in hundreds of varieties.
We got to hit a break here.
Okay.
Keep that train of thought.
All right,
We're talking
I
about
will.
storing roses, selling roses, Niffings, Mission Hills Nursery. A break. Pausing now for news on Biz Talk Radio. We come back at 6 minutes after, and back much quicker on Facebook Live. Do stay with us. This is Garden America. We are back from the break. Those that are just joining us on Biz Talk Radio, thank you. Those on Facebook Live. We were talking prior to the news break, top of the hour, Tiger, about storing roses, selling roses, mail order, all those things. And again, you're talking about something, these are live, these are living. You've got to get them out on time. If they hang around too long in the warehouse, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be, obviously, when you couldn't order things online, that you would have to go to someplace to buy it. And that was a big difference.
Right.
But it was difficult. I mean, I don't know. Do you know, John, the biggest rose selection grower in San Diego County? Would it have been Niffings, or would it have been Hunter? Or was there someone else that maybe I'm not even thinking of?
When?
Like
What time?
Like back in like the 90s.
You mean like prior to online ordering?
Yeah, prior to like online ordering.
Probably Nurseryland.
They would have hundreds of varieties in their stores.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that was a challenge though, because they would bring them in bare root, they'd put them in their sawdust bins, or
I think Nurseryland only did packaged.
Oh, so they only did
Right.
Okay. But then what did you're talking about packaged, like they came in those plastic bags, kind of a package?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people kind of turn their noses down on those kind of offerings, and they call those instead of packaged roses, they call them roses in body bags.
well, it's because if you're not a very good nursery person, they just died in those packages.
Well, plus,
but I mean, if you
to get them in there, you had to cut the roots to a
Yeah.
certain size, right?
and fold
so
them in
it-
or break them.
Yeah, and if you didn't do a good job on that, it could be rough. And then when they went into discount stores, they weren't cared for at all. So
they just threw them on a shelf inside of a building.
right,
Yeah.
and then they would, the stems would turn brown. They'd still sell them.
But yeah, so it's a difficult thing to bring in a wide variety. It's one thing to bring in 1,000 iceberg roses and say I'm going to sell these, but it's another thing to bring in 1,000 roses but have 200 varieties, because you never know.
Right.
One might never sell, one will sell, and so it's difficult for a nursery or garden center to be able to do that. And that's what I'm saying is kind of gone away. When you go to a garden center now, you're going to find 50 varieties, maybe 100 at a big location to kind of pick from, as far as the roses, colors, shapes, sizes, all that. But online, like we're saying, they offer 900 different roses, and you have the ability to go online, get them shipped to your home. They're great quality. I mean, that story about them throwing the boxes in the warehouse to emulate how they're going to get shipped across the country. What a, knowing you're going to get a great product as well. I mean, I hope it's encouraged people to, again, get back into the rose growing, save some of the rose varieties that, are not common anymore, because they are available. Because that was the thing too, is, Abe Lincoln, rose, I might not ever sell it at my garden center anymore.
I think you mean Mr.
Mr. Lincoln.
Lincoln.
And by the way, that is a fragrant rose, right, John?
Oh,
Mr.
extremely
Lincoln
so.
is right up there.
It won the James Gamble Fragrance Award.
Yeah.
But I might not ever offer that again in my garden center, because so many other roses are becoming more popular, and those I want to do. But to be able to now have that Mr. Lincoln, because Heirloom, I don't know if they do, but if Heirloom
but that's a good
Roses
example.
offers it, it's like really cool. Yeah.
I think everyone has Mr. Lincoln.
I
It's
did
like-
pick a
it's
very
like-
common
yeah,
rose.
It's like iceberg. Maybe you can't get iceberg anymore.
Yeah.
Because of global warming, the iceberg roses are all
melted.
dead.
They're all melted. Oh, but yeah. So what a wonderful thing Heirloom Roses is doing.
Hey, Kevin in Coeur d'Alene Tigers says, or has a question: does Mission Hills Nursery offer classes on different growing and gardening techniques and how to become a good gardener?
Yeah, I got a fairy gardening class just coming up here soon. So if you're into fairy gardening,
Yeah.
no,
if you're in the area.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, Mission Hills Nursery does offer classes on different gardening topics or different gardening things. Like we talked about, fairy gardening, vegetable gardening, fruit trees, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think every nursery is responsible for also education in their region, because, going to the Mission Hills Nursery for a course in whatever it is that you're maybe interested in is different than going to a course in Idaho or in
right.
Fallbrook,
Sure.
or because we all have unique things that happen in our climate in our different regions to make us better gardeners or worse gardeners. So yes, we do offer courses.
I want to say good night to our buddy in Pakistan.
Oh, yeah.
Hastam says good morning to his friends in America and good night in Pakistan.
Yeah. Wow. What a funny thing as far
I
as
put
when
up, by the
travel.
way, because of Hastam, I put an article in the newsletter last week about, we had talked about hibiscus
Yes.
that's used for
Right.
tea. Yeah. So we talked about that variety. Veronica's going to replace her Mr. Lincoln Tiger.
Oh, she is, huh?
Yeah,
It's
but
not, just
with something else.
not doing as well, or
No.
or she just over it.
Well, she needs to. I don't know what that means. It needs to because it's dead or
Dead
because
or-
she's over it.
Yeah.
Lila says that she's put in 3 names already.
Oh.
Okay,
got
shit.
2
Two more.
more.
You have 2 more, Lila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah,
Don't
be
rush.
smart.
Right, because you may change your mind tomorrow.
That's right.
What's the gopher tally now, John?
36.
Oh. And
But-
how many roses? Because you'd only lost I think 1.
That still one.
Still 1?
Wow, you are winning.
Yeah, the other 3 that the gopher got, I was able to get to come back.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Nice.
but I'm still not happy about that.
The 1.
And I finally got the gopher that was up in my new rose bed. It started gophering its way
Yeah.
through the roses, and I was able to get that one. But that took almost 2 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah,
Jeez.
off
And they
the
keep
air.
on and they keep on coming.
Yeah, off the air. I'll have to tell you how I got it.
Dynamite. Brian.
Yes, sir.
Your patio, it's getting
Well, it's good.
full bloom right now, right?
Full bloom. I was telling John before the show, maybe you were out in the truck, that my Pope John Paul, 6, 7, 8 blooms
Oh, yeah,
already.
you were saying that.
One after another. It just keeps on producing. And it's in the patio, but it gets a lot of sun. Everything's doing well.
Is your
Yeah.
marina blooming yet?
Oh, yes. It's starting to. Yes.
It's starting to, or is
Yes.
it? Because
Just on
it
the-
is such
just
a
on the
bright
precipice.
color. It
Yes.
is
Yeah.
so bright.
Yes.
It's orange. Right?
I do feel, and I mean, I know you have a ton of roses, John, but it's one of the brightest roses I've ever seen as far as the color.
Yeah, that's why I brought. When I was dividing it, that's
Right.
why I brought one in for you guys, because I just thought it would be a color you don't see in
No.
a lot of roses.
Yeah. Yeah. Unique.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. So mine just keeps blooming right now too.
It's nice, huh?
Yeah.
You just start, wind it up and let it go.
I planted some new shishito peppers for me. I don't know what happened to my other ones, but they just died out, and so I had to plant some new shishito peppers. So I'm excited about that.
By the way, you were wondering if Veronica was over her Mr. Lincoln.
Uh-huh.
She says, nope, her neighbor killed it.
Oh,
Her neighbor.
Sorry.
Yeah. That her neighbor, by the way, oddly enough, is named Booth.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Little
what?
pause there. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Her neighbor is named Booth,
Last name Booth.
and the neighbor killed.
Mr.
Mr.
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Yes.
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 That, it's not that funny if you have to explain it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh.
Oh, Mary wants to know the name of the orange rose.
Marina.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah, I think that's what she's asking about because
I
we didn't
think so.
mention orange juice. But,
Right.
yeah, Marina, and Marina, just like a
Boat marina.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break, keeping on time here with the network, with Biz Talk Radio. So, again, questions, comments, roses. What's happening this morning? Name That Rose contest. You have 5 chances, 5 entries or 5 different names. Lila is up to 3. Choose wisely, Lila, and be careful. You got a long way to go. We're going to take a break here on Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us. Well, yes, indeed. Garden America is back from the break. We trust you had a good break, those on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. And I like to see our friends, our listeners, our viewers on Facebook in the comments section having fun with each other.
Yeah.
A lot of activity, a lot of humor. Mr. Lincoln, Mr.
Do you
Booth.
know, by the way, Tiger, do you sell buzz buttons?
No.
Are those things
Oh,
where
the
hit-
plant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you meant that when you shake somebody's hand, the buzzer that goes
No,
off,
not
right?
those.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
I need to get some of those.
Buzz
maybe.
buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're nothing but an old buzz button.
Well, they've become, they've been popular probably for maybe the last 15 years,
Yeah.
10, 15 years.
Mhm.
They were selling them in New York in bars for, I think it was 50 cents a flower.
Was it that much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I mean, I know they became real popular.
Yeah.
Like you're saying in the bars.
In bars?
Yeah. Because they, it's also called toothache plant.
Yeah.
'Cause
it's-
it numbs
It
your-
numbs.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that numb your mouth.
So you get a little buzz. Like they would either sprinkle the flour over the drink, right?
Mm,
Or they would rub the glass,
the rim.
the rim of the glass, and you just get a little buzz
Yeah.
with your alcohol. You get a buzz with your buzz.
I was going to say, not that the alcohol buzz isn't enough.
Yeah. If people want a more intense feeling of it, you can just bite on some stinging nettle.
Yeah, right, exactly, right?
Oh, the other day I grabbed some. Oh man.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever grabbed stinging nettle by
No,
hand?
but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It goes right into your skin, right? I mean,
Well,
underneath, right? It
No,
stabs
it's
you.
like you got stung.
Yeah.
It's just and the problem is that there's fuzzy stinging nettle, which is easy to identify. Like that stinging nettle, I am not going to touch that. And then there's the nettle that doesn't have the fuzz, which doesn't sting you, but
It's called poison oak, though.
no. Just the regular, like sometimes the smooth leaf stinging nettle. That's not poison oak, is it?
I've never seen
You
smooth
just
leaf.
have to
yeah.
rub up against it,
Well-
even though it's flat.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying like the other one. So there's 2 nettles, and one stings you and one doesn't. But on the one that doesn't, it's kind of like a 50-50 chance it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like stinging nettle has a fuzzy texture to the leaf, and you
Right,
know
right.
it's going to sting you. The other one, it doesn't sting you, but it sometimes does.
But you walk away with symptoms?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I told you the story about my grandmother picking nettles because she would cook them,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And
Make it like a pesto.
but she would go out there with bare
No-
hands,
no
no
gloves,
gloves
yeah.
or anything. And
She was used to it, right?
well, no, because I saw her doing that. And I said, "Grandma, doesn't that sting?" She goes, "Yeah, a little bit."
Yeah.
They build up a tolerance.
I don't know.
I used to work with old nursery guys too, and
And they would just pull it up.
bare hands.
Really?
You know, and there are
Oh,
people too.
man.
Speaking of rubbing up against these plants or these leaves that sting you,
Yeah.
even poison oak, poison ivy. Some old grizzled people I've
Yeah.
known that hike doesn't do anything to them.
Yeah.
They get a little rash, whatever.
Yeah, I've never been allergic to either poison oak or poison
Right.
ivy,
Yeah.
Nice.
and my dad wasn't. So you think it's hereditary, but my brother was extremely allergic, and
Oh, whoa.
and my kids are extremely allergic.
I was going to say, I think I remember hearing one of the sons when they were doing some work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both Joe, but Jesse. No, I'm not sure if Joe is. Joe might not be,
Okay.
but Jesse is for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So Carla's asking for prayers.
Okay.
She's going to the fuchsia sale at Sherman Gardens, and she only wants to buy one.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah, it's not probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
How about if we just pray for the best outcome?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily that you only buy one, but just the best outcome.
You know, that's something that
You should
has
always just say
changed.
3. 3 is a good
3?
number. You can stick to 3. 1, that's an impossible.
That's fair. That's like eating one potato chip, right?
Yeah.
You know, Tiger, you were talking about how fashion changes in plants. And that's something that's changed, at least in San Diego. You used to have, there was fuchsia season.
Yeah.
And now you can't even find fuchsia.
No.
I mean, you would have 4-inch fuchsia, named varieties. Every spring they'd come out. And
Do you think it's because they're kind of difficult?
I think they started to disappear when that fuchsia gall mite came around.
Became
Yeah,
challenging to produce and then have.
right. The same
But
thing
such a
happened with
cool flower.
hibiscus when the woolly whitefly, is that what it's called, woolly whitefly?
Yep.
I mean, just
When that
Yeah.
came out,
Right.
but then
Giant.
they came with the wasp that attacked it, and they got rid of it. So people now still plant hibiscus, but if they didn't come up with a cure for that, the hibiscus probably would have disappeared.
And when we were in
I mean,
Costa Rica,
oleander, you can't buy oleander
No.
anymore.
but when we were in Costa Rica, right? Didn't we see hibiscus and they were all free and clear of whitefly? Do I remember that or no? Am
I
thinking of
never
another
saw any
place?
whitefly there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if in like you're saying, San Diego, if there was a wild hibiscus plant, like meaning like not actually managed in
nobody's
someone's
taking
yard,
care of it.
it had whitefly.
Yeah,
it
right.
had, you know. But in Costa Rica, they were beautiful and no whitefly, and yeah. But oleander, like John is saying, used to be a very, very common shrub for San Diego County.
All the
Planted along the
freeways.
freeways. People use it as hedges, and
It's like the perfect drought tolerant plant.
then people, oh, it's poisonous. Well, okay, it's
Yeah.
let's be realistic as far as what's poisonous.
Right.
Number one, it is poisonous, but it's not going to kill you just by looking at it. And then number two,
Well, not by looking at it, but
Can you imagine that?
But-
Don't look at it.
yeah.
but chewing it,
Yeah.
it was pretty deadly
Oh,
poison.
that reminds me. I need to stop by your nursery and buy some carnations.
oh yeah,
What kind of carnations?
You have them?
Lisa's, carnations.
You have
I
carnations.
don't know if we do actually right now.
That's why we've had this conversation before.
I told you I planted one a few months ago back in my yard.
A carnation.
Yeah,
You just don't. No one
Yeah.
talks about them anymore.
because they flop over. You can buy a dianthus.
Dianthus
true.
have become really popular.
Yeah.
I can't believe how well dianthus do.
Yeah.
I mean, they bloom their little heads off, Brian.
Do they really?
They do.
How about that?
Carla says some of her plumeria, and a lot of them in the neighborhood have yellow leaves. Is it the lack of sunshine and cool weather?
Yep.
What should she do?
Yeah, it's exactly that. We are very behind when it comes to
Should plumeria even have a leaf on it right now?
yes.
Okay,
They
good.
should. They
okay,
should.
mine's
yes.
doing okay. Mine's doing
Yes.
well.
But as you guys know, I probably have about 20 varieties now, and I've got some that are leafing out really nice.
And some that are
Some that are still struggling to leaf out. But I would say that the problem is right now is, she hit it on the head. We don't have the sunlight that we would normally have. And
she's right on the coast, too.
yeah, and which is even, less. And they probably got well overwatered in the wintertime. And so they're still
they need to dry out.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, if she starts to fertilize it right now, you're going to start to see some big changes. So I've started fertilizing my plumerias now because I want them to, grow really well and strong. And I fertilize them once a month because they love fertilizer.
Good advice. We're gonna take a break,
right.
and then back with plumerias and fertilizing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that this afternoon. Garden America, we have 2 more segments. Boy, oh boy, here we go. Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live, and continue the conversations in the comments section on Facebook Live. This break, these messages from our friends on Biz Talk Radio, and a big thank you to Fertilome. We are back from the break here on Garden America. Prior to the break, Tiger's going to be fertilizing his plumerias sometime today.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll do the same thing.
I don't remember his name, but we had a plumeria grower on a while back and turned us on to the Grow More hibiscus plumeria food or something like that.
Or was it tropical?
Yeah. I can't remember, but
it
I
was
have
something that was really high in potash, right?
Yep. And so I have I'll post a picture of it later on today on the Facebook. But I've kind of I do that, and then I mix it in with some just all-purpose fertilizers, and the ones in the ground I do more kind of organic all-purpose fertilizers, because the issue that I have too is I have still a little bit of heavy clay in some areas, and I want to make sure to amend that soil nicely for the plumerias. But in the pots, I do the liquid fertilizer.
Lila says that her daughter brought her a plumeria stick from Hawaii. Should she plant it with John's method? I think she's talking about the egg method.
The one where you put the egg underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you live by that. You love that.
I don't know if I live by it, but I did do a test one time, and it absolutely worked. And for those of us, or those of you who are listening for the first time,
and you're wondering what we're talking about with the egg method.
Yeah, all you do is put an egg in the bottom of a pot,
and
then put the soil on top, and
don't even crack it.
Yeah, needs to be a fresh egg, not hard boiled.
True. Good note.
Yeah.
And what does that appear to do?
You know, as the egg decomposes, it emits sulfur, and some of that helps the plant to root.
Yeah.
If you Google egg method of rooting plumeria online, you can find out all about it.
So I think the statute of limitations also, because I haven't told you guys about the plumeria I brought back from Costa Rica.
I don't know about statute of limitations. That even when they're expired, you can be prosecuted.
Okay, so obviously this was a well-kept secret.
So, you know, whenever I travel, I like to try to bring one back. So do you remember the last hotel we stayed on
by
the beach?
Okay.
Yeah. The one with the crabs, the Halloween crabs.
Yeah, they were all over the place.
If you looked from our hotel straight across, there was like a point, a land point.
I know exactly what
So I got over to that side, and when I got there were these massive plumeria trees growing on that point. And so I was able to climb up on there, and
It's like at 1:30 in the morning?
No. I was able to climb up on there, and I got a cutting and brought it back. But it's kind of like a cool, wild, giant tree.
It's a little different than going to a nursery and buying one.
Yeah, and, you know, I know where it came from and, you know, all of that kind of fun
it's
stuff.
Something that'll remind you of your trip.
Yeah.
How big was it?
The cutting?
Cutting.
Oh, only like a foot.
Okay, you know what's interesting? And I asked Dana this the other night, coming back from Costa Rica, coming or going. We never had to fill out any cards.
No, we didn't.
If we bringing in any fruit, any seeds, anything, any plant material.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to Hawaii, you have to.
Yeah.
And that's in the United States, and it's all for protecting, so on and so forth. But we didn't have to for Costa Rica.
But I have a funny story about this cutting. So I went up onto this rock, got a plant, snipped it off, cut it off. And
By the way, don't try this at home.
Don't.
And we need a disclaimer that John and Brian in no way condone the actions of Tiger Palafox.
Right.
That's our
But here is the classic thing. Why are you not allowed to bring back plants from other countries? It's because disease or bugs.
You introduced,
right?
Yes.
So I'm looking at the plant as I'm walking back with it, and it's got a bug on it, and I don't know what this bug is, but I was like, see, if I didn't look closely and saw that it had this bug on it, who knows? It came back in my suitcase or whatever, but I was able to take the bug off. And
you just hope there are no other bugs or eggs
on it,
lying dormant.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really a funny story or if it's funny because you say it on air.
And you waited till right now. And he was like a little kid who got away with something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, the
there's
nice thing about plumeria is that they are easy to clean off,
Yeah.
right? Because
Right,
it's just
yeah.
a stick. You didn't bring any leaves back,
No.
right? Yeah.
No. Just a stick.
So
Yeah. No soil.
Oh, do you remember? Was it coming back? Wait a minute. It was when we were coming back when we sat in the airport. How they randomly called me aside
Yeah.
for drug testing.
That was on our way from Costa Rica to the United States.
The United States. And, Dana and I watched so many of these airport custom shows, right? Where they take
He
this
was
little
all
wand.
excited. Brian
I knew
was
exactly
all
what they were
excited.
doing. They take a wand and they just rub your suitcase and then they put it into a little machine. It looks like a little ticket that when you park someplace.
Yeah.
And it comes up for any kind of drug and it tells you exactly what it is.
Or bomb residue.
Or residue, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised they didn't have dogs. Because most airports, people get off the plane or getting ready to depart. They have
there
dogs.
weren't dogs at the airport we went to.
When
we didn't see any.
Yeah.
Liberia? I didn't see any dogs.
So,
at
but
ours.
yeah, and you weren't there. But yeah, I got pulled over, got put into a little room,
Yeah.
and I kind of thought special. Brian Main, please report to.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get upgraded.
Yeah, and they said, yeah, we're going to check you for drugs. They went through my suitcase, so on and so forth. And you know what? Even though you're totally clean,
Yeah.
you're thinking, yeah, I hope. I mean, I hope there's
Did I leave my bag unattended?
no false readings, or whatever. But yeah, that was about the most exciting thing that happened. And you said you saw dogs.
Yeah.
You said you saw dogs.
I don't know if I
Wonderful.
would say that was exciting.
Wonderful.
Went to Costa Rica. Did you see anything? Yeah, we saw dogs.
At the airport.
But they're at the airport. They're inside. They were inside dogs.
Exactly.
What was the name of the first hotel we stayed at the very first night we got there?
Oh, it
Was
was
that a DoubleTree?
Yeah, it was like it was a DoubleTree because of the
Oh,
cookies.
yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
That was in San Jose, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How's our new trip coming?
It's coming along. I think.
You just got back, John.
Well, no, we got to. I mean, if people want to plan to go with us next year, we're going to have to come up with something pretty soon.
Yeah, last we were talking about Iceland and Europe. We were talking about, and so
Ireland.
Ireland, and we're trying to finalize that second part of it, like you were saying, like whether we're going to do
The Hampton Court Flower Show?
whether we're going to do that as like an add-on or whether we're going to do that as part of the trip.
I think people might like that because it's the world's largest flower show.
It's amazing.
I know you'd like it,
I was
Brian.
blown away.
Yeah.
The largest flower show.
And there wasn't even, the winds weren't that strong either, and you were still blown away. I remember Tiger being, there were things there that I saw for the first time that I really,
Exactly.
really liked. But I remember you being just infatuated with the displays of allium.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
So cool.
first of all, we don't get many allium here, right?
So disappointed.
But
I tried.
There
I
were
tried.
so many different types. Very
Do you know
interesting.
do you know allium? It's
The onion family.
It's like an onion,
Mm-hmm.
but they get flowers the size of a basketball, and they're perfectly round basketball-sized flowers on these stems that are 4 feet tall.
Well, huge flowers either are very intriguing or they can scare you.
Oh,
Because you're looking at it going, you shouldn't be that big.
yeah, exactly.
Like you turn a corner and you see a sunflower, 6 feet tall, staring you in the face.
yeah.
That's a big bloom. That's a big flower.
So yeah,
Dana's,
alliums
by
are
the
just
way,
so
is
cool.
packing.
Oh yeah,
Who is?
Dana.
she's
Well,
ready
she
to go.
never unpacked.
She never
That's what she didn't
unpacked.
tell you.
She
She's
says
ready
her
to go.
bags are packed. She's ready to go.
Yeah,
But don't
no,
know
I mean,
when I'll be back again.
I mean, that Hampton Court Flower Show. I've been to a lot of flower shows in the United States, and as John said, there was things I'd never seen there before.
Blew you away.
And not even impossible things. Meaning, I get it when the alliums are impossible for us. I don't see alliums because they don't grow here. That's kind of a given when you go to some places
Right.
for flower shows. But I remember one display had, I don't even know, 50 types of mint, just mint plants, all kinds of mint. I'm like, I get it. I've seen chocolate mint. I've seen spearmint. I've seen mint the best. I've seen
Peppermint.
peppermint. I've seen a lot.
Buttermint.
I've seen a lot of mints, but they had 50 types of mint plants. I'd never seen I didn't know that existed. And those are plants that we could grow.
Sue, by the way, in San Diego says she's planning her vacation for next year, so she needs to know when you're
What
talking
month?
about.
Oh, okay. We're looking summer.
So I think the Hampton Court Flower Show's in June, right?
Exactly. Later in June, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah. If you Google Hampton Court Flower Show 2025, you'll see the dates, so you'll know we'll
kind of that window.
Yeah, either before or after that window. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we wanted to pick that area because we can go there in the summer, and it's their season. You know, it's very difficult to travel to someplace in the summer and have things be in season. You know, if we were to go to, Australia in the summertime, it's their winter.
It's their winter time.
If we were to go to England in the summertime, it's their summer still.
Right.
The Hampton Court Flower Show is at the end of their season.
Okay, we got to take a break. We've got one more segment. We have reached almost the end of the show. So a break, thanking Fertilome, our major sponsor here on Garden America. And again, these breaks are for you on Biz Talk Radio. We are back from the break. This is our final segment here on Garden America as we continue throughout the weekend. This show today will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. Be sure to go to our website, gardenamerica.com. Visit it if you can, just at least once a day. Peruse it. It does help us. Be a peruser.
Kim in Tucson is asking if Tiger had said Iceland because after he said Iceland, I said Ireland.
Yeah.
But it's both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about doing Iceland, Ireland, and then, like you're saying, maybe the Hampton Court kind of at the end of it.
Yeah.
So
or maybe making it a post or pre-tour.
Post-tour, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or making Iceland a pre or post-tour.
Because, we're trying to go to someplace in the summertime, but actually have it be in season.
Right.
Because you have to go to those cold areas to get a summer season for their plants.
Right.
Back to the plumeria thing and Iceland. When I was in Germany last year, we collected cuttings of a rose from Iceland.
Ooh.
And it's budded up right now. And I
is it?
Can't wait to see it bloom, yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see it there?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
not in Iceland, but in Germany.
In Germany.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you saw it before you acquired it. And do you think from Germany to Fallbrook, the plant will grow the same as far as, I know the flower is going to look the same, but size, flower size, all that.
Are you thinking that it might need cooler temperatures than Fallbrook? Maybe, but I think because we're inland, we do get a little cooler in the winter, so I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
Carla said she's saving her pennies.
All right.
But, Carla, that's not going to work. You've got to start saving dollars. I'm not sure what the cost of the tour will be, but pretty sure it's going to be dollars.
And then Kevin chimes in. I just want to say that you guys are really great to travel with, super fun. We are in for your next trip.
You know what, Kevin? You and Terry were great to travel
They
with.
were such a blast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll go on a trip with you, Kevin.
Yeah, really. Where are you going, Kevin?
Plan a trip, Kevin.
Yeah, we'll go with you.
Yeah. So anyway, Carla's asking, now she's confused, Iceland or Ireland? Both.
Both.
Any country that begins with an I.
Yeah.
Oh, not Iran, though.
No, not Iran.
Iraq?
Yeah.
Probably not Israel either, because of the thing. We need things to settle down over there.
Calm down. Everybody just calm down.
No Iraq either. Yeah.
Iraq,
Maybe
Iran, I fell.
Italy.
Well, we've done Italy a few times.
Yeah,
that would be a tough one in the summertime, though.
Yeah, you don't want to do it in the summer.
Hot.
Oh,
it would be good to
very
do
hot.
southern Italy in spring.
Yes.
Which would include Pompeii.
We want to tell the real reason why we're going in the summer, Tiger.
Yeah, because that's the only time I can travel now. Yeah.
It makes sense, though. Yeah,
I think
because of family obligations.
Tiger's wife wants to go with them.
Exactly. And since she's a teacher, there's no chance of...
Can I go on one trip with you, please?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have to do a summer trip in order to accommodate that. My wife, being a teacher, doesn't get time off for the rest of the time of the year.
I don't think the trips bothered her until this time Tiger's dad came, and she goes, all right, you're taking your dad now.
Exactly.
I want to go.
Yeah.
I think Janine would be a fun person to travel with.
Yeah.
Oh, for
It
sure.
would be a good time.
And it'd be fun because she really is interested in the plants and all of the things that we do. She would be blown away. She loves that stuff.
Oh.
So
The Hampton Court Flower
gosh.
Show is, everybody talks about going to the Chelsea Flower Show.
Mm-hmm.
And Chelsea's phenomenal in a different way.
Yeah.
It's also good because it's way at the beginning of the season. It's actually before roses are blooming. So to have rose displays, they have to grow them in
Force 'em.
greenhouses. Yeah,
Yeah.
and force them. And Chelsea's good that way. But the way that the reason locals like the Hampton Court Flower Show is it's a sale too. So you
Yes.
can buy lots of stuff there.
Massive sale.
Yeah, and that's the only thing we did not like about
Yes.
the show was there were all the things that we wanted to buy and we couldn't.
Oh god.
But it was still
like I was saying, the mint table of plants, and then
Yeah.
those braided.
Oh yeah, I've
willow,
got a
the
picture
braided
of you
willows.
standing next
Yes.
to the one of those willows. I mean, it was like a sculpture, a piece of sculpture, except it was alive.
Yeah, with just and John and I were talking about it. We're like, this is so not. I don't want to say easy in the sense of
Right.
it was easy to do, but if you had a willow farm, and they do those because they have the whole willow cut flower arrangements things, right? So if you had a willow farm, you could put these sculptures together and put them out for sale within days. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it wasn't like
right.
it wasn't like something that they had to plant and grow and then sell. All you had to do was have these sticks, kind of like the lucky bamboo, but even more so than the lucky bamboo because they just twisted the willows. Meaning you took one stem and you just kind of bent it.
Yeah, but there was a lot of design to it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
So really neat stuff that we had never seen before. So it's always fun to go to those places and be able to get that inspiration. I remember John was blown away because the rose tent, so they had this massive convention center tent just filled with all the rose companies and all their varieties. David Austin had a massive
Right.
booth, all kinds of things, new introductions. I think they were more focused on new stuff. I think it was all new stuff.
Yeah, what also be interesting is Harkness was there, and we just talked to Robin
Oh, yeah.
Jennings from Heirloom, and she said they just reached a deal with Harkness.
Yeah.
So we may be able to see a lot of new roses that you will be able to buy over here in a couple years.
Well, that's one heck of a long tease for this possible trip. If you're not excited about this, I don't know what you're going to get excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also, it's a trip that we haven't even planned yet.
No.
So if we can get that excited over something we're not sure we're doing.
Yeah.
Something else to get excited about, maybe. Show's almost over.
Oh my goodness.
Well, if you like this show, you're not excited, but if you couldn't wait for it to end, you're excited.
Have you gonna wait for? Can you imagine if somebody's sitting there listening to our show, be like, "When is this gonna be over?"
Instead of turning it off,
Instead of
they just keep watching and listening. When is this going to end? Well, guess what? You're in luck. It's going to end right now.
Gina just mentioned there's no way I'm missing Hampton Court.
All right.
Yeah, we've tested the waters, and it seems to be very positive.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next week, we have to go. Your garden buddies, have a great rest of your weekend, a good week. We are back next week. Do we have a guest next week, Tiger?
Not at the moment. I don't have.
We may
a
or may
teaser.
not.
Yeah.
So hang in there for that. Read the newsletter. For the entire crew, John Begnasco, Tiger Palafox, I'm Brian Main. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time, next week here on Garden America.